My name is Ed Cox and I'm the Director of Operational and Service Redesign here at CNI. High quality community services are the cornerstone of our clinical strategy. Now we have a fantastic opportunity to rebuild Lowther Road in Islington and Greenland Road in Camden, and we'd like to hear from you about what you think of those designs. Please watch the following video and use the attached survey to provide your thoughts.
So, we wanted to talk today about Greenland and Lowther Road community centres. We've started by having some stakeholder engagement to discuss the functional content of those buildings and how they would be arranged. So these diagrams represent those different functions. We've split them up by floor. On the ground floor, you would come into the main waiting area at the front of the building and reception point. And from this area, you can also access a cafe with a kitchen servery, which would give an active frontage and lively welcoming feel to the building. You can also access what we're calling a collaboration zone, which would potentially be a hot desk working area for other community groups and members to come in and use without going into the more private parts of the building. And we could also access group therapy spaces off of that main reception, either for therapy groups within the trust or again from the community. We've identified a treatment suite which is accessible directly from that space, and most importantly we have identified two clusters of therapy interview consulting rooms. Each of these clusters would have its own access, separate and secure entry point, and it would have its own sub-waiting which can be observed via the main reception for safety and security. From that sub-wait you would then have access to the individual therapy rooms, and there would be support spaces such as WCs, etc. for each of the clusters. On the first floor, we've repeated the model. So again, you have a main waiting area, two clusters each with their own sub-wait and set of consult exam rooms, and then a separate treatment suite and group therapy area. What we would try to do is arrange the therapy rooms so that they can be flexed between the two clusters, which gives you options on how you arrange the sessions, the numbers of usage of those groups, but they can be used by different service streams in different clusters and flex between the two depending on the numbers of spaces that you need. On the upper stories, we're looking to create some agile working space, and this would create different methods of working to suit the needs of the individual. So we would have general hot desk areas, traditional desk spaces. There would be locker areas so that no one has a designated desk, but you put your belongings away into a secured locker before or after your session. There would be traditional meeting rooms, a range of different sizes for meetings. And in addition to that, we'd have some meeting pods, which can be in the main hot desking area. And they are smaller and give you more ways to work or different ways to meet, which gives you some speech privacy. We'd also have a library resource zone, which could be accessible by the community rather than coming all the way into the secure work zones for the trust itself. And we'd also look to have a sort of kitchen dining area, which would give you a rest zone and accessible zone by all of the different workspaces. So moving on to Lowther Road, the site at the moment has quite a small building on the centre of the land, but we are looking to optimise the site footprint and use most of that site area for accommodation, new accommodation on 4 stories. We would maintain an entrance off of the corner of Lowther Road and Liverpool Road. Coming into the building from the corner on Liverpool Road, you would have a main entrance into a main waiting area, the cafe being to your left as you come in. And this would help give an active frontage, give a welcoming feel to the building as you come in. This main waiting can be observed by reception, which is clear. There's a clear direction and line of sight from the entrance to reception. The purple zone at the bottom is the collaboration zone that we mentioned, which would give you the opportunity for community members to come in and use a hot desking zone or other space for different functions. And we have talked about incorporating information centre zones there or private spaces to meet, whether it be in another meeting pod where little groups can happen in this main open plan front entrance area. There would be a series of WCs for general use and then access, as you can see at the top of the plan, into a group room which can either be used by the trust for group sessions or can be used by community members. with a treatment suite identified in the sort of pinky red areas for 2 treatment rooms, a clean and dirty utility. From this area, you can also access the lift and stairs up to the upper floors. Either side of the central reception area, we have access into the secure and separated therapy room clusters. This gives you the opportunity for different services and different groups to use those clusters independently, maintaining some levels of privacy and separation. Each would have its own sub-waiting area, which leads then onto the individual rooms. And we've also talked about putting some toilets located within this cluster area back here. We're not showing doors at the back, but there would be a separation between those 2 groups of clustered therapy spaces. And the idea being, as I said, that you can flex those in the middle between the 2 clusters depending on the number of rooms you need for each service. Moving up to the floor above, it's a very similar plan. So arriving via the lift and stair core into the green zone where there is a main waiting. There's another admin presence, an office that can observe, members of staff can observe the waiting, and also can look into the 2 sub-wait areas which give you separate clusters again on this floor, similar to the ground floor. As we similarly have centralised WC access and another treatment suite which gives you 4 more treatment rooms and another clean and dirty utility area. We also have another group room on this floor. Moving up to a footplate for the 2nd and 3rd floors, this would be repeated. It has access from lift and stair cores into a general circulation zone, and access to meeting rooms shown there on the bottom of the plan, 4 number meeting rooms, plus a collaboration zone for more hot desking for the community and a resource library zone. The purple zones would be the sort of more open to the community, more accessible, less private. But then you go through to the 2 hot desk areas, which are the more private, trust designated work zones, which could have the mix of hot desks and other types of working. We've got a series of meeting pods at the end, and right in the centre of the plan, the green chill and refresh zone, which would be a soft seating lounge area and sort of kitchen area with breakfast bar, stools, different types of places to work again, but also places to get a cup of tea, get a drink or to eat. And that can be arranged however we think is most appropriate, whether it's sort of cafe style dining or soft seating. Moving on to Greenland Road, it's a very similar principle in terms of the access at the moment is off of Greenland Road to the front of the building, and there's a delivery access to Bayham Street. We are looking to either fully convert the full footprint of the building or take the building down, demolish it and replace with a 4-storey arrangement of clinic and office spaces, as we've talked about on the concept diagrams. So looking at the plan, we've switched the entrance round on this model to Bayham Street, coming in to the centre of the plan to a waiting area cafe opposite reception. There would then be in purple the collaboration zones and group therapy zones, which could be accessible again by the community. And then you come through either side of the reception to specific sub-wait areas again, each giving access to a series of interview, counselling, therapy spaces. The pink treatment rooms are again centralised and accessible from the main freely accessed public zone at the front. In the basement, we have a basement at Greenland Road. We have a group room again and some hot desk collaboration zones for use by the community, and a series of interview rooms, again accessible from the main stair and lift core. Going up to the 1st floor, we have the similar layout to the ground floor plan, which has a main waiting, 2 more clusters of therapy interview counselling rooms, each with their own sub-wait and secure entrance either side of a reception or office area, and we have a treatment suite of treatment rooms and clean and dirty utility. There are also 2 more group therapy rooms and a collaboration zone for more use by the community. Above, we have a floor of agile working space. So arriving via the lift and stair core, we have meeting rooms which are freely accessible. We have some meeting pods in the centre of the plan for speech privacy. You can get 4 people in each of these pods, but they're for less sort of formal meetings. We then have a main kitchen dining, which is the sort of chill, refresh zone that we talked about at Lowther Road in the centre of the plan, and then access to 2 clusters of hot desking. Or above is very similar. We also have a roof terrace at this level because we need to articulate from the adjacent building on Bayham Street. But the similar principle of meeting rooms, centralised kitchen dining, and then clusters of hot desking area with some meeting pods accessible to all clusters. So that concludes the initial proposals. We are currently working on developing these, but we would very much appreciate some further comments on how we can take this forward. We are looking at options of how we arrange both of these community centres, maybe on the Greenland Road, also looking at an option that keeps the actual entrance as it currently is. But the main principle is to achieve 2 floors of clinic space on each of the sites and 2 floors of agile working space. The clinic areas will each have separate private clusters of therapy spaces, which will have their own designated access and their own subweights. And then there'll be free access to group therapy, treatment, and collaboration zones for the community where people can come in and use those facilities without going into the depth of the plan and the secure areas used by the trust. On the upper stories, the agile working will have 2 floors on each site, and that, as I say, will be a mixture of hot desking, meeting pods, meeting rooms. We can introduce some one-to-one private confidential spaces for speech privacy, and also sort of chill zones for relaxation or different forms of working, whether it be sort of cafe dining style or breakfast bar around the kitchen area. So that concludes the presentation, and we welcome your comments. Many thanks.